Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from where... Oh, there we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you may be watching. This is The Pulse with Josh Greene, and we've got some serious breaking news right now. Donald Trump just finished giving some remarks from the Oval Office about the Iran war, aka Trump's war on Iran and the people of Iran that your tax dollars are paying for. This is an incredible update that has taken place from this past weekend. Apologies for not being live for a few days, but we are back. And look, this is what's happening now. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Donald Trump is the endless war president. He promised to stop all wars. Instead, his entire term has been one endless war. So we have to cover all of it and get into it right now. But before we do, I want to give a chance for people to trickle in. This is the first show in a week or so. I've been traveling, so I appreciate you for being timely, but we need to allow people to come in. Take a minute, please like this video, subscribe, share this channel with a friend, because we will be back to our regularly scheduled broadcast Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, usually around 11 a.m. PST, pending any breaking news. But we have a lot to talk about today. Trump, like I said at the top of the show, he gave a quick little speech just now in the White House. It was a bilateral meeting, and there's some serious notes that we'll cover from that. I want to show you what he said, but mainly talking about how Spain chose not to get involved in the war. They don't want Donald Trump using military bases in Spain because Spain does not want to participate in the massacre that's taking place in the Middle East. So they said, you know what? You're not going to use our military bases. You're not going to conduct any strikes from Spain. And as a result, Donald Trump is punishing Spain and saying we will cut off all trade to Spain, and that if we wanted to use the military bases, we would anyway, because we are an imperialist empire and we can do whatever we want, apparently, according to Trump. World War III is potentially upon us, folks, but we have to stay focused. We have to stay locked in, because right now this administration is conducting a campaign of shock and awe. They want us to feel overwhelmed, just like they want the people in Iran to feel overwhelmed. They want everybody to be feeling defeated, and it is our job to expose the truth about what's happening in this country, in Iran, and around the world. So even here from sunny Los Angeles, we will do our best to cover every piece of breaking news that has come out today, this weekend. And if you're new here, I like to keep these shows around 60 to 90 minutes, hit all of today's latest headlines, and everything else you can find on my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Facebook. I post videos anywhere you can watch them, so I look forward to seeing you across all platforms. So we'll give one more minute for people to trickle in, and then we will dive into Donald Trump's speech. Thanks, everybody, for the welcome back remarks. Look, basically, I was traveling. By the way, let me know at any point if the sound is good or bad. I've got a new microphone going as well, and I believe it probably sounds even better than ever. In fact, here it is right here, crisp audio. You're going to get the best audio here on this platform. You're going to get the best coverage here on this platform, because we are the real American patriots. And what we are going to do today is have a conversation about Donald Trump's war in Iran. We've already got dozens of people trickling in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Sound is good. Everybody's looking good. How's everybody feeling today? I know this can be a lot. I know it's very overwhelming. But let me assure you that we will get out of this. We will get out of this. You know, I don't know what it's going to look like on the other side, but I know for sure that there are more good people in this world that want to stop this senseless killing, that want to stop this brutal waste of our tax dollars, than there are people that want to continue these wars, this destruction, this devastation. So without further ado, let's pull up the president. Let's take a look at what he had to say today. I know he's nauseating to listen to, but we will break it down. We will just hit the serious highlights of what he's talking about so that we are informed, more informed than MAGA. MAGA does not actually even listen to what the president says half the time. We do. That is what we do. Let me make sure everybody can see this okay.
thank you very much, everybody. We have a meeting with a man who's become a friend of mine, and we've known each other for a little while in some very interesting times, and we get along. Our countries get along very well. We have a great affinity for each other, and the Chancellor has been very well received in Germany. He's a very successful man, became the Chancellor of Germany, which is a big deal. And he's doing a very good job, in my opinion, a great job, very popular. And the relationship that we have in trade and everything else has been very strong. We've been able to do our deals, and it's been very strong. We'll obviously be talking a little bit about Iran today, and he's been helping us out. We've been very nice, actually. And that is coming along, as you see, very well. They have no Navy, it's been knocked out. They have no Air Force, it's been knocked out. They have no air detection, that's been knocked out. Their radar has been knocked out. And just about everything's been knocked out. So we'll see how we do, but we're doing very well. We have a great military, and they're doing a fantastic job. So we'll be talking about that. And we're talking about some very big trade deals, and those I know will work out too. So I just want to say it's a great honor to have you at the Oval Office. The beautiful Oval Office, beautiful White House. It's,
bad echo and sound.
Even from
Let me see if I can fix that.
And you have some very.
Let me see. You know, I thought this would happen with my new mic. But let me see. I have an idea. I have an idea. Stand by, everybody. Trust me. This is going to be great. Where did I put those headphones? But yes, some of you may have already heard that Donald Trump is planning on cutting off all trade to the nation of Spain. And also, our great leader, Donald Trump, is talking about getting other nations involved in this war. The UK is interested in getting involved because apparently they're worried about their bases being hit more. Where did I put those headphones? Yeah, it's disturbing. The new mic is too good. I know, yeah. So I'm trying to get some headphones going. I just had them. This is the problem with independent media, folks. We need a big budget. We need a major studio to come in. But then the problem is they're going to tell me what to say. They're going to tell me what to do. And we can't have that either. Where did I just put them? Stand by. Think. Live producing. I just had them. And then I put them away because I didn't want to use them. Where's my producer? Let me see if this works. Does mic even still work? Oh, good.
Special places too, and I look forward to being with you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, for having me here in this Oval Office for the third time now.
Yeah.
Really happy to have the opportunity to speak with you in these challenging times. We are on the same page in terms of getting this terrible regime in Tehran away, and we will talk about the day after, what will happen then if they are out. We have to talk about our trade agreement, which I would like to be in place as soon as possible. And we have to talk about Ukraine. There are too many bad guys in this world, actually, and this is an issue we have to talk about because we all want to see this war coming to an end as soon as possible. But Ukraine has to preserve its territory and their security interests, and well, we will talk about that.
We will.
Looking forward to that.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you
That's some
for your
interesting.
hospitality. Thank you for letting me spending the night in your guest house.
That's right.
Very, very
Good.
comfortable place.
Hope you liked it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, great place.
That's
and
good.
a famous place.
That's
yeah.
good. Very
so
famous.
many former presidents.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very famous place. Any questions, please?
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were.
It was his opinion that they were going to attack first, everybody, by the way, just so we know. It was Trump's opinion. He thought they were going to attack first.
Going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that, but they hit countries that had nothing to do with.
Let's see if this works.
What's going on?
We're doing some live producing because we got this new microphone, everybody, so things are changing.
They had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly.
Lagging too. Oh my God. This is why I hate going live. It's so tough. All right, here we go.
And they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them where it is.
This might be the fix, everybody. You can probably hear me nice and crisp, and I bet for the first time you can hear the broadcast even more crisp. Because prior to this, you were just hearing the feed through my own microphone, but I think now you actually hear the direct audio source. So listen to this.
Much more appropriate. We're hitting them very hard, and
Jesus.
The big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left, and so they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt. These are bad people. These are people that killed. I guess it's 35,000. It's coming out 35,000 over the last 3 weeks. Protesters, 35,000 violently killed. So these are bad people, and the leader of the pack is gone. And as you know, 49 people were taken out in the first hit, and I guess there was another hit today on the new leadership, and it looks like that was pretty substantial also. So they're getting hit very hard, and we'll see what happens. A lot of people are coming forward. A lot of the people you would least suspect want to quit. They want to have immunity. They're asking for immunity, and probably at some point they'll be dropping, as you would say, laying down their guns. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're just continuing to go forward. Our military is the #1 in the world by far, and we are. Everything's big in my book. Venezuela was big. This is big. The original hit, Midnight Hammer, was big. Everything you view is big, but it's not considered very big by some standards, by some of our standards. We have a military like no other military that's ever been built.
Mr. President, what's the worst case scenario that you have planned for in Iran?
Well, I don't know if there's a worst case. We have them very much beaten militarily from the military standpoint. They're still lobbing some missiles. At some point, they won't even be able to do that because we're hitting all of their carriers. We're hitting all of their missile stock. You know, they built up all these missiles over the last few years. They had a lot of them. They've shot a lot of them, and we're knocking out a lot. I guess the worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So I'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people. And we'll see what happens with the people. You know, they have their chance. And we've said, don't do it yet. If you're going to go out and protest, don't do it yet. It's very dangerous out there. A lot of bombs are being dropped. But I would say that would be about the worst.
Do you have someone in mind right now? Because you said all the people you did have in mind have been taken out. What do you think?
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, you know, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you'll have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. But we have, I mean, Venezuela was so incredible because we did the attack and we kept government totally intact. And we have Delcy, who's been very good. We have the whole chain of command, and they've been, you know, the relationship's been great. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil already, and a big part of that goes to them, and a big part goes to us. And it's been great. We paid for the war many times over, and we're going to be running the oil. And Venezuela is going to make more money than they ever made, and that's great for the people. The relationship has been great. It's been seamless. Nobody's actually ever seen anything like it. If you look at Iraq, where very stupidly everybody was fired, the generals were fired, the military was fired, the police were fired, the fire departments were fired, and all of the government workers were fired. So after, you know, people would call, they had no idea. And by the way, ISIS was formed. That's where ISIS came from, all of the fired people. We don't believe in that. So we'll see what happens, but first we have to finish off the military.
Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, is he an option at all in your mind?
I guess he is. Some people like him, and we haven't been thinking about too much about that. It would seem to me that somebody from within maybe would be more appropriate. I've said that. He looks like a very nice person, but it would seem to me that somebody that's there, that's currently popular, if there's such a person. But we have people like that. We have people that were more moderate. You know, these were radical lunatics, and you know what they get? They get nothing. All they do is kill people.
Mr. President, what exactly was the imminent threat, Mr. President?
Not your turn.
What exactly?
Not your turn, please.
Mr. President, are you going to take the heat off the Europeans to potentially help you? Mark Rutte called on the allies to also help you.
What does that mean?
Well, you have to ask Mark Rutte. He said not as part of NATO, but to be helpful to you in this.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful, and some haven't. And I'm, you know, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. that island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
Mr. President, what's your expectations towards Germany? What can Germany do and what should Germany do to help you in this conflict?
Well, I think they're doing it. I mean, they're letting us land in certain areas, and that's, we appreciate it. And they're just making it comfortable. We're not asking them to put boots on the ground or anything. I mean, we're just they're a respected country. I have a very good relationship with the country. We have, in particular, now with this leader, with this new leader. I think he's an excellent leader. I had my differences with Angela. I said, "You're hurting your country with immigration, and you're hurting your country with energy." And we have a man sitting on my right that is, I think, pretty much the opposite of her on energy and the opposite on immigration. And I think he's doing very well.
Commercial air travel right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation plan, and will you send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly. We thought, and I thought maybe more so than most, I could ask Marco, but I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now. And a lot of those missiles that are hitting in, those are stationary. Those were
This has been very chaotic, but I'm going to try something now. This is what happens when it's the first show in a while. Okay. See if this works.
aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that.
Okay. This could be working now. I need everybody in the chat to let me know. Do you hear Trump clearly, and do you hear me clearly? And there's no echo, because now I can actually hear.
That we attacked first, and if we didn't, it could have been, you know, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated. And if we didn't, and by the way, we have massive amounts of ammunition. We have the high end.
It's not that I couldn't figure out basic electronics. I couldn't find the cord to use these headphones, because we've got the new mic now, and I want to make sure there's no reverb. So I'm trying to make sure that I can actually have the headphones on. And I didn't find this aux cord, but I've got it now.
A lot of it was given away stupidly by Biden, very stupidly, for free. And I'm all for Ukraine, but they gave away a lot. As you know, when I give away ammunition, everybody pays for it. The European Union's paying for it. Then they can do what they want with it, but they are giving it, let's say, to Ukraine, and it's okay. But we gave away a lot of high-end, but we have plenty. But we have unlimited middle and upper ammunition, which is really what we're using in this war. And we have really an unlimited supply. We also have a lot of the very high-end stored in different countries throughout the world. We're literally storing it there, which is actually something that I insisted on. And
Okay, thanks for the patience. This show has been a very chaotic show, but moving forward, this is the way. I'm going to have the headphones and the mic. But yeah, so just to get up to speed here, we heard the part about Trump saying we're cutting off all trade with Spain, and that Spain is not letting us use their military bases, and that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is going to go in hard against Spain. It's absolutely disgusting behavior from this incompetent administration. And this war is absolutely going to spiral out of control. You hear Donald Trump saying, well, the worst case scenario is we do all this and then they have leadership that's no better than what's there in the first place. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening already. And you heard him say we killed all the backup options for leaders. It's insane. It's insane. There's no plan. And none of this is America first, by the way. I don't know why we're suddenly bombing this other country. Oh, it's for oil.
my first term, I rebuilt the military in my first term. The military is great. Unbelievable amount of ammunition. or munitions, as they say, were given away to, the Wall Street Journal incorrectly covered the story when they said that it was given away to the Middle East. Not to the Middle East, it was given away to Ukraine. Very little was given to the Middle East. The Middle East would buy a lot, and some of the nations, because they're rich, they have a lot, but it was given away to Ukraine. And it just should have been done. Look, it's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, that war would have never happened. But we have a tremendous amount of munitions, ammunition at the upper level, middle and upper level, all of which is really powerful stuff.
Mr. President, a question to both of you. How worried are you that the rising prices for gas and oil are damaging the American economy, and also what was the Chancellor?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. This is, of course, damaging our economies. This is true for the oil prices, and this is true for the gas prices as well.
Trump did not like the sound of that. He's like, you're saying it's damaging the economy? Uh-oh, don't expose me like that.
So that's the reason why we all hope that this war will come to an end as soon as possible, and we are hoping that the Israeli and the American army are doing the right things to bring this to an end and to have really a new government in place who is coming back to peace and freedom.
Yeah. Something had to be done. And it's been 47 years. They've been killing people all over the world for a long time. They were the kings and fathers of the roadside bomb. Soleimani, we killed him last term. If we didn't, I think it might be a different story today. They would have been much stronger and smarter than they are. But they did the roadside bombs. 95% of the people lost their legs, arms, had their face wiped out, just wiped out. I've seen some young people that it's so sad to watch. And that was almost all, 95% comes from Iran.
How do we feel about the hundreds of young girls who were blown to smithereens by Donald Trump and the U.S. military when we blew up a girls' school in Iran? I don't think we're talking enough about that. And we wonder why everyone in Iran is chanting death to America. Well, think about the hundreds of school children and then all of their family members who have lost a daughter, a sister, a niece, etc. They're looking at us as the enemy. They're like, you killed the Ayatollah, but you also massacred all of our daughters. You killed all of our friends, our neighbors. So many civilians have died already. And Trump says the big wave hasn't even started yet. We haven't even really started bombing Iran yet.
And with Soleimani, Soleimani loved his favorite weapon. He loved the roadside bomb. And when you see people walking around with no legs and no arms and a face that's been blown to hell, these people, what they have to go and the way they have to live, this is Iran. When you look at the barracks, the famous barracks, when you look at the hostages, when you look at a lot of hostages, when you look at all of the problems, they were really a purveyor of terror all over the world for many, many years. And it's something that had to be done, and I believe that if we didn't, because I see where Congress, if I didn't do this, guys like Schumer, who are losers, the Democrats, they're losers, that's why they're not here. Guys like Schumer would say, well, you should have done this. In other words, if I did it, it's no good. If I didn't do it, they would have said the...
Schumer's a loser, by the way. He's actually right about that. And it's funny because the conservative Democrats actually support the war in Iran. That's why we need to absolutely dismantle the Democratic Party, because they're complicit and they're equally interested in dragging us into another war because of their hatred for Iran, because of their thirst for oil. They're beholden to the military-industrial complex. It's the same. It's the same, just sometimes different colors.
Opposite, that you should have done this, but most people feel, I tell you what, I have never had more compliments on something I did. People felt it's something that had to be done. So if we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Could
Go ahead, please.
Mr. President,
yes.
How do you want to solve the conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US? And this
Between who?
The conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US. How do you want to solve
And US and who?
EU, European Union.
Union. How do you?
Well, we
That should also go to-
we won on tariffs, actually. Somebody said you actually won the case. We won on tariffs. We had a decision that was wrong.
It's only Donald Trump can take a Supreme Court decision that he lost on by 6-3 and say that they somehow won the decision, actually, because he's going to twist the facts and say, oh, well, this gives me permission to destroy countries now because I can use the tariffs to level countries with a different type of tariff. But the tariffs they said I can't use, well, it's fine. I can just destroy countries now.
A very bad decision from certain standpoints. From other standpoints, a very powerful decision because it reaffirmed all the fact that we have all these various forms of tariffs.
And also, he's treating the dissent as law. He's like, well, what they said in the dissent is you can't use tariffs, you can't use this, you can't use that. And he's like, oh, well, I'll just use that as my new reason to use tariffs.
That we felt right, but it totally reaffirmed it. It said you can use all of these tariffs. So we have all these vast menus of tariffs. And tariffs have made our country very rich. We have to charge tariffs to nations who play with their money. You know, they move their money up and down like a yo-yo. We have to take care of nations that have been good to us and fair to us, and we're going to take care of them. Other nations, they haven't, and we haven't let them take advantage of us. But the whole thing with tariffs is we had a decision that, like as an example, we have a license situation, and the license is something that allows us to immediately stop all business with, nobody even knew we had this power, but we do now because of the decision. We have the right to stop all business having to do with a certain country. If a certain country is not treating us well, the president, without going to Congress, has the right to stop. Sort of interesting. I have the right to stop, but under that.
Even the German chancellor, he's like, I'm not so sure about that. I feel like he knows more about our Constitution and our government than Donald Trump does.
That one law, I didn't have the right to charge them. So I have the right to license them, but I don't have the right to charge, which is frankly ridiculous. But the right was given to us by the Supreme Court. And we have the right, as an example, we talked about Spain. I could tomorrow stop, or today, even better, stop everything having to do with Spain. All business having to do with Spain. I have the right to stop it. Embargoes, do anything I want with it. And we may do that with Spain. What do you think?
Well, sir, I think we're going to talk about it with you. I know that you have a strong power. The Supreme Court clarified. We know you can use it, and if you need to use it to assure national and economic security, we'll do it.
Scott, do you have an opinion?
Sir, I agree. The Supreme Court reaffirmed your ability to implement an embargo, and as we've talked, from your first term, the Section 3.
This nervous, weaselly, spineless, pathetic coward is coming up with random legal basis founded in 0 ounce of reality to suggest that the Supreme Court that just ruled that Trump's tariffs are illegal actually gave Trump the power to put embargoes on countries.
301s and the 232s have withheld more than 4,000 lawsuits, and USTR and Commerce are going to begin investigations, and we'll move forward with those.
And we've instituted a 15% tariff on everybody, as you know, and just used. I'll tell you, we had a couple of paragraphs written in that opinion that were really incredible. Justice Kavanaugh wrote a fantastic dissent. But in his dissent, he said what we should do, and we knew that too. We just wanted to simplify it, and for some reason, I think, very, very foolishly, the courts decided no. But they said you can do it many other ways, and that's what we're doing. And what we've done is we've gone to a very simple, straight 15% tariff. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in our country because of tariffs. So we've taken in all of this money, hundreds of billions of dollars, and honestly, it's made us very rich as a country. Right? So it's been doing good. When will you have the full plan implemented? We have a 5-month period, up to 5 months, where we can go at 15%.
Also, let me know if this sounds even better.
And while we're doing that, as you know, we're doing the various studies and things, and we'll be coming out with tariffs, different tariffs on different countries. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yes, sir. By the time the 5-month period has elapsed, we'll have completed.
His administration is so weaselly. They're like a bunch of Nazis, and you can just tell they're following orders, and they don't even feel confident in what they're saying, but they'll do anything to just live another day in this regime.
Investigations under Section 301, which Secretary Besson talked about. We know there are countries out there with deals who are very interested in keeping the deals. We need to go through and investigate all these unfair trading practices, the kinds of things you talked about, and make sure that we're protecting U.S. economic security. We know there are countries.
How are we going to treat Germany?
Well,
I think you should hit them very, very hard.
You knew he was right there when you said that. They have expressed an interest. Germany's been quite constructive in wanting to move forward and be helpful. You know, the rest of you will talk to them as well. But obviously,
I will say every country, every single country wants to make the deal they already have. In other words, a deal that we have using the other authority, they want to make the same deal. And we'd like to see, actually, we're going to adjust it somewhat upward, actually, but they all want to stay in the deal. And so we'll
Who would ever in their right mind make a deal with Trump and make a deal with the United States under this government? I mean, for the past almost 2 years now, it's been back and forth, fake trade deal, illegal trade deal, tariffs are illegal. We are not a reliable partner. We're not a nation worth trusting. We're not a nation worth building an economic alliance with. That's why you see Canada, who has long been dependent on the US, decide, why not do business with China instead? And out of an interest of trying to isolate China from the rest of the world, all we are doing is isolating ourselves, and countries around the world are saying, you know what, China is making honest trade deals. China is actually trying to develop their economy and other economies as well. China isn't spending billions and billions of dollars bombing countries in the Middle East. Why not work with China? We should be working with China, but we have way too much fear-mongering from the war hawks in Washington.
probably be able to do that pretty easily.
For Ukraine, after all, Iran won't be able to deliver drones to Russia anymore. So what does this war mean to Ukraine? And having Chancellor Merz sitting next to you, whom would you call if you want to talk to Europe? And Chancellor Merz, you've just been in China, the president...
Who are you, what country are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Okay, I thought so, I could see.
So, Mr. Chancellor, you have been in China and the president...
She likes you.
In China.
I don't know.
Will you be talking about China as well during this visit?
We'll be talking about China, yeah.
Sure. And what about you?
I'll be going to China in a little while. Every time you meet, you talk about China. We respect China. I do. We both do, I think. But it's always a topic of conversation. We've had a very good relationship with China. We used to lose a tremendous amount of money with China, and that's no longer the case. We have a very, very good relationship with China, and we have a very good relationship with Germany. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've seen countries around the world, many of whom don't usually work together, working with the United States on Iran, whether it's Saudi Arabia working with the United States, Israel, Qatari shooting down Iranian aircraft, and we've also seen European countries step up. Why are we seeing such unity around the world against Iran?
That's a great point. Look, they're just evil. They're it's not the politics.
What a softball question from the fake MAGA new media, people who just are there to make Trump look good. That's what they're paid to do. That's what's so. He says they're fake news. He says it's the fake news media. Yet the room are people that have been handpicked to be there by this administration. So how can you say they're fake news when you're the one controlling who gets access, who gets to be there?
It's their whole philosophy. It's their whole where they come from. It's terrible. Where they killed 35,000, I thought it was 32. Now it turns out it's much more than 35,000 people, and in some cases using machine guns with people that have no weapon. They have no weapon, and they're being machine gunned. They're being sniped from buildings. They're hitting the people with snipers right through the eyes. It's just a very evil ideology, and nobody's really seen anything like it.
What is different from what they're supposedly doing to us, just drone striking random buildings, blowing up people that have no hatred for America at all? We're not talking enough about the lives that have been lost. I know a lot of MAGA people are going to jump on board with this war, and they're going to say, well, you know what? We have to ride with President Trump. This is going to give us more oil. It's going to make us rich. At what cost? I mean, we've already had at least 6 U.S. service members die, but that doesn't even equate to the innocent population of people who are dying every single day in the Middle East. And just because they live far away, just because they're not American, it doesn't mean their lives aren't equally precious and their lives aren't connected to other people.
As I said, even the fact that they've attacked all of their neighbors, and the neighbors weren't attacking. They thought they'd maybe sit it out or what. They've hit Qatar, they've hit UAE, they've hit Saudi Arabia, they've hit Oman. They were helping us negotiate. They got hit. Everybody got hit because they're evil and they're bad. It's a bad seed, and somebody had to do it, and it should have been done sometime during a 47-year period because so much death has been caused by them, so much unbelievable death. From Germany too. Germany's been hit. Everybody's been hit by them. It's an evil ideology, and I've never been. Look, I've done a lot of good things. So many people are saying thank you, thank you, thank you. You see it in the streets of Los Angeles. They have thousands of people. I saw it the other day. Pictures of Donald Trump, and I'm looking. I'm on the phone, probably talking to you, and I'm looking, and I see my picture. I say, "Oh no, it's another, protest." I see and then I started saying, "Boy, they were very friendly people." And then I saw a woman hugging the picture of me. I said, "What's going on?" And it turned out to be these are Iranian people that live in the United States.
So many.
Thousands and thousands. You saw the rallies. And in New York, too, they had a big rally, my pictures all over the place. The fact is that people are happy what we did. And you could never, and I've always said it, you could never have had true peace in the Middle East if Iran was allowed to go, even beyond the nuclear. If Iran was allowed to have look at all the missiles they built. A lot have been now taken out by us, and a lot have been expended. But they had thousands of missiles in a fairly short period of time. And I'll go 2 things. The attack that we did, known as Midnight Hammer, had we not done that, Iran would have had a very powerful nuclear weapon within 1 month. We did it. It was great timing, but, and you've been able to see that too. The other thing was Barack Hussein Obama made maybe the worst deal I've ever seen because he gave all power in the Middle East to Iran. He went the exact opposite way. And I terminated that. If I didn't terminate that deal, they would be sitting with a massive nuclear weapon 3 years ago, which would have been used already on Israel at least, and other countries also.
The irony is it's much more likely that Israel is going to end up nuking Iran. I mean, that would be worst case doomsday scenario type stuff. But what happens if the U.S. decides to pull back from Iran? Let's say it's such an unpopular war that Donald Trump actually listens to public pressure and decides to pull back. Well, then it's going to be a war between Iran and Israel. Israel is the size of New Jersey, and they hate Iran. They may end up nuking Iran. And then we will see the first mass atomic weapons since World War II. I mean, as it stands, we are the only country that has used atomic weapons in war, dropping 2 on Japan back in the 40s. We have never seen another country do that. And Israel could very well do that. I mean, all these other countries have nukes, and we act like we're the only ones that can use them.
And we wouldn't be talking about it right now. But if I didn't terminate the deal that Obama made, giving them everything, including plane loads of cash. Do you remember the airplane flew over there? It was a Boeing 757. There was 2 of them loaded. They took out all the seats. It was loaded with green cash. So much cash that it was in Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. They got all the cash from all the banks. They put it, and they flew it to Iran. I never knew a president had that power. I'm going to maybe try it sometime if it's okay. I think I'm going to do it. They'll fly it somewhere. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 2 planes loaded from floor to ceiling, big planes, Boeing 757s, taken over there and given cash. In addition to that, he was giving them billions of dollars, but worse, he was giving them the right to have the path to a nuclear weapon. And that deal expired. A lot of people said, oh, you terminated it. Well, it was going to be terminated anyway because it expired. It gave them the right to have top-of-the-line nuclear weapon. If they had, because they're crazy, just like the people on my right during the State of the Union. I looked at them, I said, you're crazy? These people are crazy. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it.
The German chancellor's like falling asleep. He can't stand this.
All right, how about 1 or 2 more?
Mr. President.
Go ahead, please.
Chancellor Merz, you just heard that the president is thinking about punishing Spain. What are your thoughts spontaneously on this, and what can you do to,
Well, the answer on that is quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%, which we agreed on in NATO. And as the president said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that. And we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with this numbers, and this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with that.
Spain has been very, very uncooperative, and so has UK. Now the second one is shocking, but this is not the age of Churchill.
Wow. So after Keir Starmer basically succumbed to public pressure the other day and said that they are open to using British bases to help the US, Trump is also continuing to pressure the UK. He's trying to create another coalition of the willing, like we saw in the war on terror, where all these nations basically joined the US to help in Afghanistan and Iraq. But right now it's just a duo of the willing. It's just the US and Israel, and I think other nations are very hesitant. They don't want to get involved in this because they know this could spiral out of control, and they know that there's an absolute insane person at the wheel.
I'll say the UK has been very, very uncooperative with that stupid island that they have, that they gave away and took a 100-year lease, having to do with perhaps indigenous people claiming the island that never even saw the island before. What's that all about? And they ruin relationships. It's a shame. It's and that country, UK, and I love that country. I love it. My mother was born there. I love it. My mother was born there. My father was born. Right? He knows all about my father. My father was born there. So you know, very places that you sort of automatically very feel warmly about. But the UK, what they're doing with energy and what they're doing with immigration is horrible. You have the North Sea. Somebody said yesterday, what would you do if you were the UK? Open up the North Sea. They got windmills all over the place that are ruining the country, ruining the landscapes, ruining the beautiful fields. Open up the North Sea. It's one of the greatest, think of it, they buy their energy from Norway, which gets the energy, the oil, from the North Sea. So Norway drills in the North Sea and sells it to UK. And UK has a better part of the North Sea. Open up that. And number two, illegal immigration. They got to solve that problem. And I must say, that's not only UK, that's other parts of the European Union. They have the same problem. Immigration and energy. The energy is through the roof, the highest in the world. And the immigration was, I mean, you know, look, you have places where in the UK, you have a terrible mayor of London, terrible, he's an incompetent guy. But you have Sharia courts. You don't have Sharia courts. You don't want Sharia courts. You have Sharia courts adjudicating law. So it's very simple. Immigration, very importantly, immigration and energy. And you bring it back. Otherwise, you're not going to bring it back. Okay. One more. Go ahead.
I have a question for the Chancellor.
Yes, please.
To the Chancellor,
Chancellor Mertz,
Yeah.
you've called for unity and joint force in this moment against Iran. What does that look like to you? And then, Mr. President, where is getting a deal with Russia and Ukraine on your priority list right now?
So we, as I said in Germany the last 2 days, we are supporting the United States and Israel to get rid of this terrible terrorist regime. And we are looking forward to a day after, and we have to talk about the strategy. What is following after this regime is away, and we have to strategize on this entire region. And we are having a high interest in common approach and common work and what we can do, and this is important not just for the Americans. This is extremely important for Europe and extremely important for Israel and their security. So we are really looking forward to find ways how to deal about the day after.
And as far as Russia, Ukraine, where is it on my priority list? Very high. We thought that, I thought it was going to be one of the easier ones. I've settled 8 wars, and actually maybe one more than that. But minimum 8.
I've settled 8 wars. Actually, maybe even one more than that. Oh, the one I started with Iran. That's the one he meant to talk about.
8 wars, big ones. Potential India, Pakistan, big wars. Very important, big ones. I thought this was going to be much easier than it is. There's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. Tremendous hatred.
Tremendous hatred.
I've seen a lot of hatred in my life, but I think this is about top scale. I believe it's going to happen. Sometimes I blame one, sometimes I blame the other. I think it's going to happen, but it's high on my list. Not in that it affects the United States so much, because it's very far away, but last week, last week and for the last 4 weeks actually, 32,000 soldiers died. 32,000. And it's been averaging 25 to 30,000 soldiers a month have been dying in that stupid war. And I'd love to see it ended. It's the worst that there has been since World War II.
If you can't get a deal, what will that mean for you?
All you can do is do your best. It takes 2 to tango, and they have to get along.
All you can do is do your best. That's just classic Trumpism right there. All you can do is do your best.
To be able to talk to each other. They hate each other a lot. That has an impact, It really has an impact. It's bad for both. The saddest is that if the election weren't rigged, my election, that war would have never taken place. And you know what else wouldn't have taken place? Allowing 25 million people to pour through an open border. That wouldn't have taken place. A lot of things would have been different. But we're doing very well, and I think a big factor in this world and future factor is what we're doing right now with Iran. If we don't stop them, or if we didn't stop them, or if we didn't start, they've been decimated. But if we didn't do what we're doing right now, you would have had a nuclear war, and they would have taken out many countries, because you know what? They're sick people. They're mentally ill, sick people. They're angry. They're crazy. They're sick. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. It's very stressful. It's stressful. Folks, thanks for tuning in. If you've been watching since the beginning, there were some serious audio issues. This has been my first show after some travel, and I've upgraded more equipment as well. So a little bit of trial and error today. Don't hold it against me, because if you tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to have another show. It's going to be even better. We're going to be more prepared. We're going to talk on more topics. So appreciate you for being here. Thanks for bearing with me. Thank you for supporting real independent media. You can do so by subscribing for free, liking the video for free. It just helps grow my channel. And honestly, we are just at the beginning. The best is yet to come, as Trump would always say. And I really mean that for the progressive movement, because we are absolutely at a turning point right now. This country is teetering, and we are being pushed to the brink. And you've got regular people who normally don't follow politics that closely, feeling like they are way past their breaking point. And if we can do our best to educate everybody as to what's really happening and inform people as to how we can actually make change, then we can make a better country and a better world. I truly believe this. I truly believe that we can do something better than what we see out of the Trump White House out of the status quo, out of typical US politics that has gotten us nowhere under the Trump administration. So thank you for being here. Make sure to consider joining as a member if you haven't already. That's a #1 way you can contribute to the show. And make sure you tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. I will be live. We're going to be just jumping right in now that we fixed all the audio stuff. So trust me. It's going to be even better. So thanks for being here. Thank you for everything you're doing. Stay well, stay vigilant, and fight the fascist Trump regime. Have a great day. I'll be posting videos on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else. Make sure you're following. Link is in my description. @JoshProgressive across all socials. See you later.